Welcome to Miss Scarlett. Subscribe and don't miss out on Patreon. Have fun! In the quiet suburb where summer afternoons stretched long and lazy, Jordan rummaged through the cluttered attic of his family's old Victorian house. Dust motes danced in the slanted beams of sunlight filtering through a cracked window, and the air smelled of forgotten cardboard and mothballs. He was supposed to be clearing out space for his parents' upcoming garage sale, but boredom had led him to poke around in boxes that hadn't been touched in years. That's when he spotted the small, forgotten drawer in an antique dresser shoved against the far wall. It was half open, as if inviting exploration, and inside lay a jumble of odds and ends, old buttons, a tarnished locket, and there, nestled at the bottom, a pair of thigh-high socks. They were soft, black, with a subtle lace trim at the top, clearly meant for someone with a feminine wardrobe. Curiosity sparked in Jordan's chest like a match struck in the dark. He was 19, home from his first year of college, and the house felt emptier than usual with his parents away on a weekend trip. No one around to question what he was doing. He picked up the socks, feeling the smooth fabric between his fingers. They weren't his, probably left behind by a cousin or an aunt from some long-ago visit. Without much thought, he slipped them into his pocket and headed downstairs to his room, the wooden stairs creaking under his steps. Alone in his bedroom, with posters of indie bands on the walls and a desk piled high with sketchbooks, Jordan locked the door. His heart pounded a little faster as he pulled the socks out again. What harm could it do? Just a silly experiment, he told himself. He stripped off his jeans and socks, then slowly rolled the thigh-highs up his legs. The material hugged his skin snugly, reaching just above his knees, the lace edging brushing against his thighs. It felt strange at first, foreign, yet oddly comforting. He glanced at his reflection in the full-length mirror on the closet door. His auburn hair fell in soft waves to his shoulders, catching the light from the window, and for a moment, he didn't recognize the person staring back. Emboldened, he remembered the bag of clothes he'd borrowed from his sister's room a few weeks ago, when she'd been home briefly from her job in the city. She wouldn't miss them. They were old pieces she'd outgrown. He dug out a simple skirt, knee-length and flowy, and a fitted blouse with short sleeves. Slipping them on over the socks, he adjusted the hem, feeling the fabric swish against his legs. The transformation was subtle but profound. In the mirror, the lines of his body softened, the socks accentuating a grace he hadn't known he possessed. For the first time, he saw himself reflected in a way that felt right, like a puzzle piece clicking into place. Excitement bubbled up inside him, warm and exhilarating, but it was laced with fear. What if someone walked in? What if this meant something he wasn't ready to face? He spent the afternoon like that, pacing his room, sitting on the bed, even practicing a few poses in front of the mirror. The socks against his skin were a constant reminder, a gentle pressure that awakened a sense of identity he couldn't ignore. It wasn't just about the clothes, it was the way they made him feel seen, authentic. By evening, as the sun dipped low, he carefully folded everything away, hiding the socks under his mattress. But the seed had been planted. The next morning, Jordan woke with the memory fresh in his mind. His parents were still gone, giving him another day of freedom. He skipped breakfast and went straight to retrieving the socks, pairing them this time with a different outfit from the borrowed stash, a pair of shorts that were a bit too short for his usual style and a loose sweater. He ventured out of his room, tiptoeing down the hallway to the living room, where the large windows overlooked the backyard garden. The house was silent, except for the hum of the refrigerator. He sat on the couch, legs crossed, feeling the sock's fabric shift with every movement. It was thrilling, this secret indulgence, but the fear gnawed at him. What if a neighbor glanced through the window? He drew the curtains partially, creating a cocoon of privacy. As the day wore on, he experimented more. He tried walking in a way that felt natural with the outfit, swaying his hips slightly, noticing how the socks made his steps lighter. In the kitchen, while making a sandwich, he caught his reflection in the toaster's shiny surface. Auburn hair framing a face that looked softer, more at ease. The excitement built, pushing back the fear momentarily. This wasn't just play, it was exploration, a doorway to understanding parts of himself he'd kept buried under layers of expectation. By late afternoon, he heard a car pull into the driveway. Panic surged. His parents were back early. He dashed upstairs, stripping off the clothes in a frenzy, stuffing them back into hiding. The socks went under the mattress again. When his mom called out from downstairs, he emerged in his regular jeans and t-shirt, auburn hair tousled as if from a nap.
"Hey, kiddo, help with the groceries?"
she asked, oblivious. He nodded, heart still racing, the secret burning like a hidden ember. That night, lying in bed, Jordan couldn't stop thinking about it. The socks had unlocked something, a desire to express this feminine side more fully. He wasn't sure what to call it. Femboy, maybe? The term had floated around in online forums he'd skimmed late at night, but labels felt secondary to the feeling. The fear was there, a shadow over the excitement, but so was a growing resolve. Perhaps he could find ways to incorporate this subtly into his life. Over the following weeks, as summer deepened, Jordan found small opportunities. His part-time job at the local bookstore gave him afternoons free, and with his parents' busy schedules, he had pockets of time alone. One evening, after closing the shop, he stopped by a thrift store on the way home. The place was a maze of racks, smelling of fabric softener and old books. He browsed casually, his auburn hair catching the fluorescent lights, and picked out a few items that could pass as unisex. A scarf, some accessories. But in the back of his mind, he imagined pairing them with the socks. Back home, in the sanctuary of his room, he tried them on. The socks first, then a borrowed dress from the stash, simple and elegant. He added the scarf, tying it around his neck. Looking in the mirror, he practiced makeup for the first time, using a tutorial on his phone. Just a touch of eyeliner and lip gloss, borrowed from his sister's old kit. The transformation deepened. His auburn hair seemed to glow against the outfit. Excitement thrummed through him, but the fear spiked when he heard footsteps in the hall. He wiped it off quickly, hiding everything. This pattern continued, each session building on the last. He started sketching in his notebooks, drawing figures that mirrored his new self, slender forms in thigh-highs and skirts with auburn hair cascading down. The art became an outlet, a way to process the emotions without risk. One afternoon, while alone, he even danced to music in his room, feeling the socks glide against the carpet, the borrowed clothes flowing with his movements. It was liberating, a rush of joy that made the fear seem smaller. But secrets have a way of pressing outward. At a family barbecue, his cousin Emily noticed something off. "You seem different lately, Jordan. Happier, maybe?" she said, flipping burgers on the grill. His auburn hair was tied back in a ponytail, a subtle nod to his explorations. He shrugged, heart skipping. "Just enjoying summer." Inside, the fear twisted. Did she suspect? Encouraged by these small victories, Jordan ventured further. He created an anonymous online profile on a forum for gender expression. sharing vague stories without details. The responses were supportive, stories of others finding their way. It fueled his excitement, making the fear more manageable. One night, he stayed up late, socks on under his pajamas, reading posts that resonated deeply. As August rolled in, with college looming on the horizon, Jordan decided to take a bigger step. His best friend, Tyler, was coming over for a gaming session. Tyler was laid back, always up for anything. Jordan wondered if he could confide, but fear held him back. Instead, he wore the socks under his jeans, a hidden layer of truth. During the game, as they laughed over controllers, Jordan felt the fabric against his skin, a secret comfort. The evening went well, but afterward, alone again, he dressed fully, socks, skirt, blouse. He sat at his desk, writing in a journal about the day's emotions. The words flowed, the thrill of the hidden socks, the way they made him feel aligned. But a knock at the door startled him. His dad, asking if he wanted pizza. Jordan froze, voice steady as he declined, waiting until the footsteps faded. This close call amplified the fear, but it also sharpened his determination. He began planning for college, researching dorm life and privacy. Maybe there, away from home, he could explore more openly. He packed the socks carefully in his suitcase, along with a few borrowed items, his auburn hair a constant in the mirror as he prepared. One weekend, his sister visited unexpectedly. Sarah was perceptive, always had been. While helping her unpack, she noticed the bag of clothes. "Hey, these are mine. Been borrowing?" Jordan's face flushed, auburn hair falling into his eyes as he stammered an excuse about laundry mix-ups. She laughed it off, but her eyes lingered, curious. That night, emboldened by the near miss, Jordan dressed again, adding a necklace from the thrift store. He walked around the house quietly, the socks silent on the floors. In the backyard, under the stars, he sat on the porch swing, feeling the night air on his legs. It was peaceful, the excitement pure and unadulterated. As days passed, Jordan integrated more elements. He grew his auburn hair longer, styling it in ways that felt feminine yet subtle. At the bookstore, customers complimented his look, mistaking him for artistic flair. The fear ebbed with each positive interaction, replaced by a budding confidence. One rainy afternoon, alone in the shop during a slow shift, he slipped into the back room and tried on a pair of heels from a donation box. Nothing fancy, just to see. Paired with imagined socks, it felt right. But the bell jingled, a customer entering, and he hurried back, heart pounding. This push and pull defined his summer, excitement in the discoveries, fear in the concealment. He met a group online who shared similar journeys, chatting anonymously about fabrics and feelings. It helped normalize it, making him feel less alone. Toward the end of summer, Jordan attended a local art fair. He wore subtle makeup, auburn hair loose, and under his outfit, the socks. Blending in with the creative crowd, he felt a sense of belonging. A vendor sold handmade accessories, and he bought a bracelet that complemented his style. Back home, he reflected on how far he'd come from that first discovery in the attic. The socks had been the catalyst, awakening an identity that felt true. Yet the fear remained, a whisper of what-ifs. As he prepared to leave for college, packing his things, he tucked the socks into a hidden compartment. The road ahead promised new freedoms, but also new risks. On the day of departure, his parents hugged him goodbye, proud of their son heading back to school. In the car, driving away, Jordan touched the edge of the socks in his bag, excitement mingling with apprehension. College life hit like a whirlwind. His dorm room was small, shared with a roommate named Chris, who was friendly but always out. Jordan seized moments of solitude to dress, the socks a staple. He explored the campus, auburn hair catching the autumn breeze, feeling more himself. One evening in the communal lounge, he met Lena, a student from his literature class. She had a warm smile and shared his love for books. They talked for hours, and Jordan felt a connection, wondering if he could open up. But fear held him back. Instead, he kept it hidden, wearing the socks under jeans during study sessions. Lena noticed his gentle demeanor, complimenting his style. "You have great hair," she said once, touching her own locks. As weeks turned to months, Jordan joined a campus club for creative writing. There, he shared stories infused with themes of identity, veiled but personal. The group was supportive, encouraging him to delve deeper. In his room, late at night, he dressed fully, practicing poses, feeling the socks' embrace. It became a ritual, a way to unwind from classes. One day, Chris walked in unexpectedly while Jordan was midway through changing. Time froze. Chris blinked, then laughed it off. "Dude, whatever floats your boat." But the fear exploded. Would he tell others? To Jordan's surprise, Chris was cool about it, even curious. "If that's your thing, own it." It was a turning point, the excitement outweighing the fear for once. Emboldened, Jordan started incorporating more into his daily life. He wore subtle feminine touches to class, nail polish, a choker. His auburn hair became a signature, styled with care. At a club meeting, he confided in a small group, sharing the story of the socks. They listened, shared their own tales. It felt like community. Lena became a closer friend, inviting him to coffee. Over lattes, he hinted at his explorations. She was intrigued, supportive. "Sounds like you're finding yourself." As winter approached, Jordan planned a small outing, dressing fully for a private walk in the snow-covered campus. The socks kept his legs warm under a skirt and coat. It was magical, flakes catching in his auburn hair. But on the way back, he ran into a group of rowdy students. One jeered, "Hey, what's with the get-up?" Fear surged, but he held his head high, walking past. The incident shook him, but it also strengthened his resolve. He wasn't alone anymore. He had friends, a budding network. Spring brought new opportunities. Jordan auditioned for a theater production, landing a role that allowed gender-bending elements. On stage, in costume with socks peeking out, he felt alive, the excitement electric. Off stage, his relationship with Lena deepened. They went on walks, shared secrets. One evening, he showed her the full look, auburn hair framed by the dorm light. She smiled. "You look amazing." As the semester ended, Jordan reflected on his journey, from the attic discovery to this point of self-acceptance. The fear was still there, but diminished, overshadowed by growth. Yet as he packed for summer break, a mysterious note slipped under his door. "I know your secret. Meet me tomorrow, or everyone finds out." His heart raced, the old fear roaring back. Who could it be? What did they want? Hope you enjoyed the story so far. The rest will be available on Patreon.